Hello there guys, welcome to my channel. Okay, in this video I'm going to explain to you about the chemistry paper 2 multiple choice question extended, and this is for October November 2021, and the code of this paper is 22. The time duration here is 45 minutes. Okay, now let us move with the first question. Okay, number 1, an experiment is set up as shown. Okay, so here is a wooden cotton wool soaked in ammonia. Ammonia is this, NH3, and here's another cotton wool soaked in hydrochloric acid. Okay, so please remember this question has been repeated since 2020. Okay, 2020 and 2021 May June. You can go through some of my video on May, June. Okay, so after several minutes, a white ring of ammonium chloride appeared as shown. Okay, the ammonium chloride is this, NH4 and Cl. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, so first we have to get their RMM. Okay, their RMM values. So nitrogen is 14, nitrogen supposed to be, okay, so here's the nitrogen 14, hydrogen is 1, and chlorine is 35. Okay, so if you add on here, you have 14 plus with 3, so total you'll be getting here about 17, and here you have 1 plus with 35. Is it 35 or 35.5? So the chlorine here is 35.5. Okay, so it's 0.5. So the total of your RMM for here is 36.5, which is a bit heavier. Okay, so they're having a high inertia, and this one is a lighter, so it will diffuse much more faster, and this one it will move a bit slower. So okay, so your answer here will be ammonia gas diffuse faster. Yes, it's correct, because its molecules have a lower molecular mass. So this is the most possible answer, but we have to look at the other options. Diffuse faster. Okay, this is wrong. Okay, when it is heavy, it is slower in the movements. Ammonia diffuse slower. Okay, both of this is wrong. So your best answer here will be A. Okay, now let us look at the number 2. Let me scroll below. Okay, number 2. A student put exactly 25 centimeter cube of a dilute hydrochloric acid into a conical flask. A student added 2.5 of a solid sodium carbonate. The measured change in temperature of the mixture. Okay, which apparatus does the student needs to use? So if you have a carbonate, obviously you will have a carbon dioxide. So let us write down the formula here. Sodium carbonate, hydrochloric acid, and here you have sodium chloride plus carbon dioxide plus with water. Okay, so I don't balance it, so we just want to know the product. So here we will have a gas. So if you have a gas, okay, so there is no measurement for the gas, so we can avoid it. So we can see there is a change in temperature. So obviously we need a thermometer. 1, 2, 3, and there is no timing here. So there is no there's no such thing to measure the time, so there's no need of stopwatch. And then we have a measuring cylinder and also pipette. So here if you see here, this is only 25 centimeter cube, which is quite small for measuring cylinder, so we don't use this. Okay, now you need to, okay, so now we need to measure this 2.5 gram, right? So we need to have a balance. So the best answer here will be balance, piping and thermometer. So your answer is C over here. Okay, number 3. A student separates sugar from pieces of broken glass by dissolving the sugar in water and filtered off the broken glass. So here's the filtrate and here's supposed to be residue. Okay, so what is the filtrate? So the filtrate here will be, the glass is tucked here, alright? So there is no broken glass, there is no broken glass, and should be a sugar solution because it's already dissolved in the water, right? Okay, so here should be the sugar solution. And pure water, okay, so here the best answer here will be sugar solution, and we can obtain the pure water from a boiling on an evaporation process where we will left the sugar behind. Okay, next we move on with the question number 4. Okay, here how many protons, neutrons and electrons are there in one atom of isotope of 27 aluminium? So this is the nuclear number with a big N. This is the proton number, and the proton number here will be equal with the electron, and the neutron number here we have to minus this, so we'll be getting 14. If it is an isotope you have a same proton number, alright, so this is also will be 13. Okay, now let us check the answers, the options that they've given us. So we have here proton number 13 and 13. So 14 is absolutely wrong. It's not for isotopes. Okay, and then here we have a neutron 13, electron 13, which doesn't make sense. Okay, so here we have 14 and also 13. So this is the best answer here, boy, because they're asking for this. Okay, so for number 5, which description of brass is correct? So brass is a combination of the copper plus with zinc. Okay, so it should be an alloy. It is a mixture. Okay, now we move on with the question number 6. Okay, number 6, some property of diamond are shown. So number 1 is it's very hard. Every atom forms 4 bonds. And 3, it does not conduct electricity. So which property are also shown by silicon for oxide? Okay, this is also one of the macromolecule, silicon oxide. Okay, so we can see so it appears as a linear structure, so where they have this type of structures. Okay, so the number 2 will be out. It is very hard, so number 1 will be selected, and it also does not conduct electricity. So 1 and 3 is your answer, so your answer here will be C. Okay, now let us look at number 7. Which statement describes the attractive forces between molecules? So here we have a strong molecule covalent bonds and strong ionic bonds. Here we have a weak forces, and here we have a weak forces which hold ions together, in a lattice. So you have to clearly understand that if it is shown as attractive force between molecules, it is definitely going to be a covalent. Okay, it is going to be a covalent. So for ionic, it is more into electrostatic force. So it's not ionic. And if it's attractive force, it means it is a strong covalent bond holding the molecules together. Okay, so this is a keyword to understand the questions. So 7 is A. 8 is, which substance is described as a macromolecule? Okay, macromolecule here we will have, okay, ammonia is a simple molecule, iron is an element, and sodium chloride is a salt, is a ionic. Okay, so your best answer here will be B, which is graphite. So remember, macromolecule you have only 3. One is a diamond, and we have a silicon dioxide, and we also will have a graphite. Okay, now we move on with number 9. Okay, the equation for the reaction of a sodium and water is shown as here. Okay, when they mix with water, we will have a hydrogen. Okay, so remember for group 1, the general equation here will be the elements of group 1 mixed with water. You will be having the elements hydroxide solution plus with hydrogen gas. Okay, so what is the volume of hydrogen gas measured in RTP? RTP means we have to, it is a 24 dimetric cube produced when 18.4 gram of sodium reacted with excess water. So let me make it bigger. Okay, now this is 2, this is 2, this is 2, and here is 1. Okay, now let us calculate 18.4 gram of sodium. Sodium is 23. Okay, the RAM. So we divide it with 23, we will be getting here, 0.8 mole. So here you have 0.8 mole, 0.8 mole, 0.8 mole, and since here we will have only 1, so it will be halved, which is 0.4 mole reacting. So 0.4 mole multiply with 24. Okay, multiply with 24, and we will be getting 9.6. So let me zoom out. Okay, so we will be getting here 9.6. So this is your answer. Okay, number 10. Iron can be electroplated with zinc to make it resistant to corrosion. So, okay, this is a electrolysis chapter. So always remember, for electroplating, let me explain to you here. For electroplating, okay, and this is the object. So whatever object you want to do with is, let's say example like a key. Okay. Okay, let's say this one you are going to do with zinc, right? So make sure your rod here is zinc rod, and here is the object. And make sure your solution is also zinc related. Example like a zinc nitrate. Okay, like a zinc nitrate. or you can also use zinc sulfate. So please remember this regarding electroplating. So your answer here will be anode. Anode will be the zinc rod, alright, the zinc rod. The cathode obviously will be the iron, the object. Here is the rods. And the electrolyte, you have to use zinc, so which is zinc nitrate. So this is your answer for number 10. Okay, now we move on with the number 11. Okay, number 11, chlorine reacts with ethane to produce chloroethane and hydrogen chloride. Okay, the reaction is exothermic. Okay, so for now, the reactants will absorb energy. Okay, so I just write it down here. It absorbs energy to break the bonds. So let us calculate the total energy absorbed. So if you look at CH bond, right, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So here we have 6 times with the energy CH, which is about 410. Okay, let me erase back and we will count for the rest. C carbon and carbon, we will have a 350. This is only one. And we have a chlorine and chlorine. Chlorine and chlorine. So here you have about 240. So we total up all this, we will be getting here about 3050. Okay, this is a kilojoule. Huh? Okay, now when they are forming the bonds, right? When they are forming the bonds, the product, they will release the energy. Okay, they'll release the energy to form the bonding. So the same thing happens here. CH times with 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 times with 410. Okay, now we also look at the carbon and carbon. So they have 350. Look at carbon and chlorine. So carbon and chlorine, we have here about 340. And hydrogen and chlorine, we have about 430. So this should be negative. So all total up, you will be getting here about 3170, and this is minus because they release the energy, and so we can assume it is a exo and this is a endo. So when we total up both of these the values here, we will be getting negative. So we'll be getting a total of a negative 120 kilojoule. So which is correct, is exothermic. So now we look at the answers. What's the energy change for the reaction? So this is the energy change of the reaction by. Okay, so I hope you understand. It often come out in our paper 4 as well, this type of questions. Okay, now for chlorine. Chlorine is bubbled into aqueous potassium iodide. So you have a chlorine gas and potassium iodide. So remember, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and also iodide. This is much more reactive. Okay, this is the most reactive. And this is the least reactive. Okay, so here what happens is you have a displacement reaction. So the chlorine is much more reactive than the iodine, right? So it will be displaced. So you have here chlorine, potassium chloride, and here you have an iodine. So your iodine equation here will be, you have this chlorine. So chlorine, and it becomes a negative ion, so it will accept 2 electrons to form 2 chlorine ion. And we look at the next one for iodine. Iodine is already in a iodide form, so they will release the electron. Okay, they will release the electrons, so we can cancel off this part, these 2 electrons and 2 electrons, make it in the form of a full equation. So we will be getting this answer, 2 chloride, and you have the iodine. So which is B as your answer? Yeah, correct, it's B. Alright, so this is your working. Okay, now for question number 13, so let me erase this. Okay, so for question number 13, concentrated aqueous sodium chloride is electrolyzed. Equation represents the reaction of the cathode. So if a concentrated sodium chloride, you will have sodium and hydrogen, chloride and hydroxide. So this one will be under anode, so we don't have to care about this. And here at cathode, they will follow the electrochemical series, so which will give hydrogen will be selected. Okay, hydrogen will be selected, so your answer is definitely going to be C. So just to explain more, for anode, since it is concentrated, it is only will be affecting the anode, not the cathode. Okay, so in concentrated, you have a less water solution, which is about 20% the water, and your here this one will become 80%. So the chances of chlorine to be discharged will be much more higher. Okay, so I hope you understand this. For electrolysis, you can watch my video in my channel that specified on electrolysis, so you can have a look. Okay, now we move on with the question number 14. Okay, so for question number 14 here, which statement about hydrogen are correct? So when the hydrogen is burned, heat energy is being released. You can say that because hydrogen will be used in the fuel cell, right? Fuel cell. And number 2, when the hydrogen is used in a fuel cell, electrical energy is generated. Yes, correct. And when hydrogen is used as a fuel, water is the only product. Yes, it's correct. Because it's hydrogen plus with water, you will produce, hydrogen plus with oxygen, you produce the water and the energy, the heat energy. Okay, so the heat energy will be transferred to the engine. So your answer here will be everything, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, now for number 15, solid X is heated strongly. The color of the solid changes from blue to white. So blue to white is heated strongly. So it's blue, you have only one, which is anhydrous copper 2 sulfate. Okay, copper sulfate, something to do with copper 2 plus. So your best answer here will be should be C, because when it is in blue, it represents the presence of water. Alright, so here you will have water, so which shows the solution to become a blue color. So once you heat it up strongly, the water will get evaporated and you will be getting a dry copper 2 sulfate. Okay, so this one you have a dry copper 2 sulfate, so which will eliminate the presence of water and you'll be getting white. Okay, this is for number 15. Now let us look at number 16. Iron 2 chloride solution react with chlorine gas. Okay, the equation shows as here, so let me make it bigger. Okay, just nice. Okay, now which statement about this reaction is correct? Okay, since it is all about oxidation number, let me place it over here. So this is plus 2, alright, the iron. So iron here will be plus 3. So this one will be an oxidation. So I just put there oxidation. And if you look at chlorine, here, okay, so we just focus one by one. So chlorine 2 plus iron are reduced. 2 is not reduced, it's oxidized. So this is wrong. This one should be oxidized. So if it is oxidized, this is the oxidizing agent. So this is the agent. So chlorine acts as reducing agent. Wrong. It is oxidizing agent. Iron 2 each lose an electron. Yes, it's correct. Because iron 2 plus, you will form iron 3 plus by losing an electron. Yes, it's correct. So the chlorine molecules are reduced to, yes, this is reduced because it is absorbing the gaining the electrons. Okay, so your answer here should be 3 and 4, which is D. Okay, now we go to number 17. Okay, which statement about acid and base are correct? So here, an acid react with the metal to give off hydrogen. Yes, that's correct. A base react with an ammonium salt. Let me give you the equation for the number 1. So here we will have acid plus metal. You will have the salt plus with releasing the hydrogen. A base react with an ammonium salt to give off ammonia. Yes, this is correct. And acid react with a carbonated to give off carbon dioxide. Yes, is correct. Alkaline solution are orange in methyl orange. Okay, so this one should be an acidic. It is not alkaline, so 4 is wrong. So your best answer here will be 1, 2 and 3. A is your answer. Okay, now we move on with number 18. Okay, number 18. Oxide 1 is a solid that reacts with a dilute hydrochloric acid. Oxide 2 is a gas that reacts with a sodium hydroxide solution. So what are the formula of the oxides? For oxide 1, it should be base. So it's a group 1 and group 2 oxide is a base. Okay, they will have an alkaline characteristics which is suitable for calcium oxide and also magnesium oxide. So both of these is acidic, so this is wrong. And oxide 2 is a gas that reacts with the sodium hydroxide solution. So here your only answer here will be nitrate oxide. So it will form like a brown color. Okay, So your answer here will be boy. Okay, now let us look at number 19. So which reaction is a photochemical reaction? So photochemical reaction here will be under alkane. Okay, alkane under the substitution reaction. Okay, substitution reaction. Example as this: substitution of methane with chlorine. Because the condition for this reaction to occur, you need to have a UV light, which can comes from photochemical reaction. Alright, so your answer here will be D for 19. Okay, now let us look at number 20. Okay, the equation shows the equation shows represent a reaction at equilibrium. Okay, M and N represents the balance number for the reactant and the product respectively. High temperature increase the concentration of Q. High pressure increase the concentration of Q. Which statement about the reaction is correct? Okay, for the rate of reaction, this is the general formula that I used. So for endothermic here, it is absorbing heat. Alright, it's absorbing heat. So your temperature here should be high and the pressure should be lower to increase the yield. So for exothermic, since it is already releasing the heat, doesn't make sense for the temperature to be high. So the temperature should be low and your pressure should be high. This is to increase the yield. But in this case, if you look at it, so both they will be having increasing the concentration of Q. So in this case, you will have the M mole here will be greater than N. So this is the only possibilities over here. So this is your answer. And let us check the front one, and it should be an endothermic. Okay, it should be an endothermic. So your answer here is C.